What is up, boys? The pigs are back for another episode of a Blind Pig podcast, courtesy of BGObsession.com, your favorite place to be obsessed with random football stuffs. Happy to see everybody for a special tonight. We're doing our mock draft. We do one of these once a year. I know, Paul, this is like your favorite podcast that I'm pretty sure he plans his family vacations around this podcast because he's not going to miss it. So before we get rolling, we'll get some of the particulars out of the way. If you've been here before, please hook us up with a like, a share, and a follow. We are kind of a roundtable discussion, just a couple of buddies talking football. So if you like what you see, like, share, follow. You can find us on all social media platforms, on all major audio podcasting platforms, as well as on YouTube. Live, I believe, tonight, as long as we don't have any technical difficulties. And then, of course, at the mothership, BGObsession.com. So, gentlemen, we had no big news today from the team before we get into the draft, but I do. Did you like what you heard a little bit from the Peters pre-draft pressers today? If you got a chance to listen to them, from what I gathered from it was a whole big bag of nothing, and I loved every bit of it. It was we're open to all ideas, and we're going to try to maximize our draft. Is basically what they said.
Yeah, he didn't. I watched it this afternoon, thinking I'd gained some kind of wisdom from it. And other than I enjoy watching Adam Peters for 30 minutes, he didn't say a whole lot, which is what you want.
Yeah, they're good at professionally not answering the question, but just like going through the motions of it.
That's right. Well, fellas, for those of you that tune in regularly, you'll also notice our good friend Sip is back. He's going to be helping us with this mock draft. So Sip hasn't been a part of one of these before. If you're new to the podcast, what we'll actually do is pull up a mock draft simulator, which we have here. Mock Draft Hero was one that I was introduced to recently by somebody on the board, and I like it a lot. Shameless plug, they've given us nothing for this. I'm not trying to go, but it is a pretty cool site. Draft board, you can change it based on what draft board you want to use, whether it's Pro Football Focus, Draft Tech, PFN. Make your own board, your own big board. Change your settings. So there's a lot of cool stuff with it. One other really cool thing is if you click on a name, it will tell you the relative athletic score for people, and it'll take you directly to the site, which I'm sharing my screen, so it won't pop up that window for those of you watching. But cool site, mockdrafthero.com. I definitely suggest it. That's the one we're going to use today. So the practice goes, we will start the draft off, and then when we get on the clock, we can kind of collectively have a conversation while we're on the clock, but ultimately we've each been assigned the final say of each pick. So whoever's been assigned that, you are the tiebreaker, you are the true decision maker, you are the one. You can either heed the suggestions or you can tell us to go pound sand. It's up to you. So kind of a fun exercise that we try to put a board together. Unlike in years past, this year we will be accepting or at least evaluating trades because I think it's more realistic now than it has been in the past. So there's a cool trade function, and we can talk about that as we go. So if you guys are ready, I'll go ahead and kick this thing off. I've got it set to 1 second between automated picks, which should keep the flow going all right, but we can kind of follow along and pay attention to who's been taken and who hasn't. And as we approach our pick, we can just talk about who we might want to see here. So with that, we'll get it rolling. So Sip, as we're approaching this, who you have circled if they're still on the board that you want at 29?
Probably a toss-up between Izaraku and Maxwell Harrison. Those would be there's a bunch I like, but if I had to just pick a player or two, it would be a toss-up between the two of them.
All right. Well, we're there. 29th pick is up. James Pierce fell. Amarion Hampton went to the Patriots 2 picks before we got on the clock. Just to go a little bit of a recap, there's Izaraku. He went 22nd to the Bills in this mock. What was the other name you mentioned?
Hairston. So he's there at 36, I say.
Okay. Maxwell Harrison, cornerback, Kentucky, relative athletic score of 9.63.
So I just want to point out, Eman Wari was the safety that had comparisons to Sean Taylor. So I would be tempted there. That's one of my main
I like the way this draft fell.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we'll get to the pick. But just looking at the board, Emin would be good. I think Hairston would be good. Connerly would be kind of surprising, but before we actually make a pick or make a decision, and ultimately, like I said, Sip, it's going to be your call. Possible trade opportunity: Cincinnati wants the 29th and the 128th pick for number 34 and 81. According to the site, that favors Washington by 2 points.
Yeah,
Jacksonville wants, huh?
Yeah. Oh, never mind. Okay, there's some others. Okay.
Jacksonville wants 29 to give us 36 and 88. And Kansas City wants 29 to give us 31 and 133. So add a fourth, move back 2 places. Add a third, move back 7. Or add a second and a third, but move back 5, add a third, but also give up a fourth.
Yeah.
I take the Jacksonville.
So, give up 29, get 36 and 88. We don't have a third rounder right now. Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah. No.
So then we would be giving up a 29 and getting back 2 top 100 picks. That would be a good pick to look at, just as we would evaluate fully. And one of the practices I do when I do these, if I'm going to move back 5 places, can I come up with 5 names that I would be willing to pick at this place? So that even if all 4 of the before my 5th one was there, I know I at least get a guy I want. Sip, who would if just kind of looking around a little bit, you said you wouldn't mind moving back. Do you see anybody else? You see Hairston's there. But if Hairston's gone, are you a fan of Eamon Worry?
No, I like no, not really. Just real quick on him. If they love him, I'd be into it. But my issue with him, and the difference with Sean Taylor, in particular, is Eamon, even though he's a freak, big dude, he's not the best tackler. He's not the best downhill level guys type of run stopper. Even though he should be, his size and his athleticism, but he misses a lot of tackles. Decent in coverage. He's almost the opposite of what you would think with somebody with his dimensions, where you'd think he'd be this, fluffer who just destroys runs, but maybe a little bit stiff in coverage. I think he's a bit underrated in coverage. I think he's very inconsistent as a run stopper. Chris Sims actually went further, says he's embarrassing as a tackler. I wouldn't go that far.
Wow.
Really, really erratic as a tackler. A freak of an athlete. So if they're like, we got a plan for him, I'd be on board. But he's not one of the guys that I'm big on. But there's a lot of guys in that range that I like. So it's a no-brainer. Yeah, I like Derek Harmon. Nolan, if his character checks out. Tyler Booker, I like, despite his lack of athleticism, but he's really stout as a pass blocker. Egbuka, really solid receiver. Connolly, it's easy for me to trade down from there. As much as I like Hairston, if we lose him, we lose him. But there's plenty of players there I like.
Well, I think we're all, and we one thing about the NFL draft is you always get proven wrong, no matter what position you take. It doesn't go the way you think it was going to go. But I would say of all the recent drafts, this is the one where I feel like it's probably about 50-50 that we trade out of that first pick, just because of where we are in the round. And
what our needs are.
And the fact that, I don't know if you agree with this, Sip, or Paul or Tony, but I think there's a kind of the consensus is that there's not a lot of variation on talent level from like 20 to 40 in that range. There's a ton of good players in that range, where sometimes even in the late first round, the talent drops way off, or the perceived talent. So anyway, I'm not pushing us to make a trade, because we could trade every pick in this mock draft and come up with 19 or 20 players. And I don't think we want to do that. But I do think this first one, we should at least strongly consider it. But I'm going to leave it up to to Sip as to whether he wants to trade out or not.
Look at this though, real quick. New York apparently traded up to 17 to take Jackson Dart. That's a name that I would have been surprised that would go. Somebody would want to move up to 29 for.
Yeah, I think what you were just talking about is also what might hurt us in wanting to trade back. If there's so much talent that's similar, like the draft has to break a certain way for someone behind to want to jump up. So I think that'll be interesting to see.
Well, Paul, what do you feel about a trade back? Would you be confident?
I would be very comfortable with it. Going to echo what John said, there are a lot of players, probably between that 20 and 50 range, that are very, very similar in terms of ability and in terms of their impact on a roster. The other thing I think that you need to consider, it's a very, very long wait from 61 to 128. So if we can add something in that third round without dropping too far from 29 into the second round, I would be all for it, because there's a lot of talent that comes off the board in those 60 or so picks between 61 and 128.
So Sip, you get paid a big bucks, man. What are you going to do?
No brainer. If this happens, I'd be sky high elated. I don't know if they'd get a deal like this on Thursday, but yeah, no brainer. I would make that trade, especially with those guys still on the board.
The Jacksonville trade. So we go from
Jacksonville trade. You get a third, then you got a third, you got a fourth. And jumping ahead, I do think that third round pick is a perfect range to get a running back. Whoever's, in my humble opinion, whoever's picking there. I hate that we're picking fourth after the second, so I think it's a sweet spot among second.
So then, all right. So what? Sorry. So we'll give up 29. In return we get 36 and 88, and we're gonna go ahead and accept that trade. Boom. Good. Now Walter Nolan is okay. Jacksonville took Walter Nolan, the defensive lineman, out of Mississippi with the 29th pick. That's who they went up and got. And then look, Harrison came off, and then Eamon Worry, because the Eagles don't have enough, rookie contract defensive backs. He ends up in Philly. So now looking at the board again, Sip. Say what?
So a guy that I really like is Trevion Henderson sitting there. A lot of the guys I really like got picked right in front of us just now. But what do you think, Sip, of the guys that are out there, at least on the screen?
Yeah. Trevion Henderson is really tempting. I just a little quick on each one of them. Derek Harmon, I heard that there's some medicals on him, so I'm not quite sure about that. But I think he had the second best pass rush win, among the defensive tackles. He is really twitchy for a defensive tackle. I think pairing him with Johnny Newton would be a lot of fun. Tyler Booker is like an big time character, like Terry McLaurin style, high character player, really stout, left guard. Burden, is a bit of a freak of an athlete. He's a bit boom bust in my opinion, but he's intriguing. But you got a good point about Trevion Henderson. Some people think he might end up in round one, and that Denver might take him at 20. I heard today, and McShay thinks he might go late first, maybe including to us. I don't know if I would take him at 29, but at this range, it would not be easy, but also is tempting. Squirton's tempting. But yeah, I would go with Henderson, just because as much as I love this running back class, he's so perfectly suited, in my opinion, for this team. Explosive runner, great pass protector, great pass catcher. He's one of the few of the speedy running backs, and I like a bunch of them, but one of the few that actually kind of takes his run in between the tackles, which I think's as opposed to going outside, like Tootin takes a lot of his carries outside the tackles, bounces outside. RJ Harvey bounces outside a lot of his runs. Henderson often goes straight up in between the tackles, which works really well with our RPO slash read option system that we use with Jaden Daniels. But yeah, for various reasons, I think Travion Henderson is really the perfect running back for this team. So that's who I would go with.
All right. So with the 36th pick in the 2025 draft, the Washington Commanders select Travion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State. Big time weapon on an offense that's already been touted as being loaded, that's what I've heard. But Travion Henderson.
Nice.
So, all right.
And that means you're on the clock, Derek, at picks.
Yep, I'm on the clock. So as we roll down here, I've got some guys I'm looking at 61. I hope they're there. A couple of them. I was looking weapon, but I might pivot now because going running back, I might have to take a look, especially if.
All right.
All right. So now we're on the clock, and my guy is there. Before I get into that, I kind of want to. There's another guy that I absolutely love that's on the clock too. So, looking here, one of the guys that I've been paying attention to in the prospect research is Darian Porter, the cornerback out of Iowa State. I've heard some really good things about him. He is just an athletic freak. His relative athletic score is a 9.99. He runs a 4.29 40, 6'3", he's 195 pounds. So excellent in coverage. Man, and he was a former wide receiver, so he's got that different kind of mentality. But if I was going offensive side of the ball, Jalen Noel was a guy I was watching too, just as a big home run threat. Another guy, I can't remember what. Let me pull up his you can't see it, but I'll share the numbers. He's not huge. He's only 5'10" at 194 pounds, but he ran a 4.39 40, and he is listed as having elite overall athleticism when it comes to speed. He's just an absolute burner. I was also watching Jack Sawyer to see if he fell. This is kind of. I was hoping an edge defender would make their way down here because I do want to get premium edge position talent. But if they're not there, I'm not going to take one just because we should take an edge. I'm curious.
You get a lockdown corner.
Yeah.
You don't. The edge is. I'm not saying it's not important, but it works both ways.
Right.
One of the things I thought was interesting at the presser today was because I always want to know this, like, do the coordinators campaign like, look, man, you took a running back with the first
right.
And
like I need my linebacker or something, yeah.
But you do wonder if there's some of that going on in the war.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I'm curious. What do you guys? I'm opening the war room here. I'm like, what are you guys seeing? Any names out here jumping off the page at you guys? I'm open to opportunity. I'm willing to listen.
I love the cornerback idea, but that's just me.
What?
I love the cornerback because I think I would love to be able to put San Ristel back in the slot and with a talented rookie on the outside. But what do you guys think?
Derek, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not trying to sway your decision making by any means.
I'm not taking the kicker from Florida State, Paul. It's too early for that.
That's completely fine. I know we have needs on the defensive side of the ball, but at the same time, same token, I think we are one piece away from having an absolute dominant offensive line. I don't know if Wyatt Millum is still there. He's got some versatility along the line. He could potentially play right tackle for you. If Brandon Coleman plays right tackle, he's someone you can slide inside. Just a thought.
Oh no, he went 52 to the Seahawks.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, playing off of your idea, I like better than Wyatt. And I think he's there. Yeah, Tate Ratledge, who is he's like Brandon Sheriff, like road grader, mauler, mean streak, great run blocker. He's used to blocking the Georgia tackles that are on Philadelphia right now. But he is he is a mauler. I see him sometimes in the mid-second. I'm kind of surprised he's there. I guess around this number is about right for him, but
probably the injury. The injury probably dropped him at least.
Yeah. If I'm going with the idea of finishing the offensive line, Ratledge would do it, in my opinion. Swenson's a good pass rusher too, by the way. So it's not like there's no pass rushers there, but your pick's good. It's a tough call, I think.
So you don't see any pass rushers that you'd be interested in taking at 61? We need to analyze this. I mean, what would we be if we didn't listen to everybody? The Giants want 61, and they want to give us a third and 2 4th rounders to do it. Like, I don't know, man. That's a lot.
I'd do it.
Right? Because if I pull this up, we have 88 coming up.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah,
that's a big drop down. I just don't.
Drop like 30 spots, right? If you
so many picks, I don't think that's realistic. I mean, that's the only.
No, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't pick again till 88. I mean, we'd be dropping down 20. What is that? 22 picks or no?
Yeah.
38 picks. We'd be dropping 38 picks.
Yeah.
Basically for two.
To play devil's advocate.
99 is almost a 4th round pick. I believe it's in the compensatory range. So you're essentially looking at
3 4th round pick.
Yeah, you essentially have 3 day 3 picks there. That's not appealing to me.
There's not, just to play devil's advocate, there's not a huge difference between late 2nd and 4th round in this draft. But I'm good either way. The main reason why I wouldn't do that is I don't think even with that big drop, they would get an offer like that, because it's not a secret that, the 2nd through 4th rounds are like the sweet spot here. So if you can get 3 picks for 1, I think that's kind of crazy. I don't think anybody would offer that, even with that.
Yeah,
drop.
Tony made that point earlier. Is that's probably what teams are thinking is those picks are high value in this draft, so we're not just going to throw them away.
Right.
Up, around.
So what about any?
What about any of the wide receivers?
That's why I was looking. Trey Harris was another one, but he's not as fast, right? I mean, he's a bigger body guy, but I don't think he's as fast. And we don't go tight end there, I don't think.
We're looking for playmakers, man.
I know. I gotta hold on. Now I gotta go back and look at my notes. I gotta look at my notes.
Swenson is a good pass rusher. It's not like there's no pass rushers there. He's a good pass rusher. More of a power type, but he's really, really solid. If I recall, he had like 10 sacks or 9 sacks last year. He's a pretty good player, but I do think there's some others further down in the draft, but he's pretty good. I'm not married, but it's not like there's no pass rushers here. Just in my opinion, as far as context goes.
Right.
Commissioner is waiting, Derek.
I know. I like
cornerback, offensive lineman. I think Sip made a great case for that, or Paul did.
Yeah.
I just think Darian Porter's going to be like. I think he's going to be a stud, man. Like, I think he's got lockdown corner potential to the point where, like, you go cover that guy, you go cover CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown, and you can take care of him. Like,
he's fast.
All right, so it sounds like that's what you want to take. I'm writing it down.
You know what? No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the prudent thing, and I'm gonna lock down our O line for the next 5 years. I'm gonna go Tate Ratledge. I'm going to let him come in and just lock down that potential guard position. I got to be smart. Don't follow my gut.
Right.
So since we're at 88 and it was part of Sip's trade, he'll have final say on this one. Because technically this was
Right. We
this
got
was
I got
his.
Sounds good.
Dorian Strong, Isaiah Bond. Oh, Bond out of Texas was another guy I was watching. What's your initial reaction to the board here, Sip?
I think I'd go Ashton. I always botch his name. Galat. Edge rusher. He had one of the higher pass rush win rates last year. Yeah, it's sort of a down year from a sack standpoint, but he still had a lot of hurries. His stats were really good. He was sort of a kind of an odd guy to watch. He's a really thick upper body. Looks like he can just destroy people, like he's like some Marvel hero character. But he also has a bit, his arms are a bit on the short side. But he just has an incredible motor, quick first step. I know it's a guy that they are. I think he actually, I know he was one of their 30-day visits, so I think they have some interest in him. But eventually, we need to get a pass rusher, and in the third round, I think it's good value for Ashton.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Anybody jumping off the page at him that you would want to throw out there? Nobody going for Scatabo. I mean, isn't that the sexy name right now?
we got a running back though.
Right, and Dylan Sampson was another one I talked about out of Tennessee. That guy could be a major home run threat.
I've heard good things about Kyle Williams, the Washington State receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'd be intriguing.
Yeah, but like you,
too.
like Sid
really
mentioned a lot.
Good
sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like you mentioned, I think we've met with Galata a few times, so I know the team's interested, or at least has been doing their due diligence on him.
So is that the pick?
Second runner-up, but yeah.
So Ashton Galat, edge defender out of Louisville, is the pick at 88, and he's up. So next up is 128. I believe that's Paul. Is that right, John?
Yes.
Yeah, that's me, Derek.
Paul's gonna. Oh, I didn't check for trade opportunity. Sorry. Oh well. Oh, Jared Ivey off the board. Chris Paul Jr. Malachi Moore went. Man, that's another name I would like to. If he makes it into the fourth round, I really want to see us take a look at him. So as we're coming down here,
Devin Neal,
Ty Felton. All right, so I'll scroll back up, see the last couple while Paul takes a look at the board here.
Oh gosh. So I'm chuckling because the couple of players that I potentially had circled at cornerback, we haven't picked the corner yet. Dan Quinn usually does a good job of finding some of these late round gems that he's been able to insert into the cornerback position and do well with. And I see that in, I think, the last 5 picks that Noel Williams literally got picked. He was one guy that I had circled. And Quincy Riley went like 3 or 4 picks prior to that as well. I don't know who we still have on the board at cornerback. Is Kobe Bryant still there?
Yep. Kobe Bryant out of Kansas.
Okay, so he was, given that we haven't picked the corner yet, I know Washington wants some playmakers on the back end. He's a guy that's had some like really elite ball production. I think he's had like 13 interceptions in his college career, 22 pass breakups. He's one of those players that plays with swagger. He's a really feisty competitor. I think he fits into the attitude that Washington tries to showcase and demonstrate on defense, and not just being, a team that's really nasty, a team that's really violent, a team that, has that dog mentality to them. He's seen a little bit more as like a zone corner, someone who's got really good anticipation. But they've also mentioned that he can excel in a press corner situation, that he makes good use of his hands. So I don't know, I know he's like number, like, what is he on this page?
139.
139. We're at 128 at this point. I don't think it's an extreme reach, given that we can use a developmental corner at this point. We don't know what the history or what the future of Marshawn Lattimore entails, and Jonathan Jones as well. I mean, he's older. He's 31, going on 32 years old. I think we can use a developmental corner in our system, so that might be an option. I am willing to listen to other things that you guys might have in terms of input at this point, to help us come to a decision.
I don't hate the idea of a corner, but a name that and if we hadn't gone running back, Basil Tootin is a guy that I would love for us to add to our, but having drafted a running back, but another name that I would say to consider is Aeneas Peebles, the defensive lineman out of Virginia Tech.
I like Jonas Sanker, man, as a safety. I'm biased.
He's a UVA guy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him, John. Yeah.
But I like Peebles. I think he's fast and explosive, but he's not really a space eater. But I think he's kind of a guy that can be a decent interior D lineman. But
right. When you think of it as well, Derek, the interior of our defense might be a more pressing issue compared to corner, given that Daron Payne might not be lasting more than one season. So we could be looking at a player there that can be pressed into playing time sooner than a developmental corner, so to speak. So I suppose that would also be a good option.
And depending on what they think of Jordan McGee, Barrett Carter from Clemson is another rangy middle linebacker that could be quickly become a succession plan to Bobby Wagner, depending on, because B-Wags, how much longer is he going to be around? You got Luvu, who just eats on the outside. So, that's another position we might have to be considering sooner rather than later, that we're not just set at. Plus, we don't have any depth there. If I'm not mistaken, Luvu, Wagner, and McGee are the only three guys that are even under contract. And
so we're falling into the whole positional need conversation, which is how you screw yourself in the draft sometimes. I'm not saying
that's true.
So who's the best athlete available at this pick?
What do you think, Sip?
I'm really tempted, like you, as far as Peebles goes. As we're talking, I'm looking up his numbers. But Daron Payne to me right now is, like his PF grades are insane. Like 91 pass rush grade, almost 18% pass rush win rate, 31 hurries. Especially in this class, it's hard to get. The defensive tackle group is really strong, but more on the run defense side than pass rush side. And Peebles is one of the only ones left that has some juice as far as pass rush goes. And I like the Brian pick. It's solid. It makes total sense. I'd be torn between that and Peebles, but I'd probably pick Peebles if it were me. But I understand the rationale either way.
Mm-hmm. I like all those points, and John, you are right. You do run into trouble when you start to try and focus on let's go get position of need. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go defensive interior. If I'm not mistaken, I think we have met with as many, if not more, interior guys on the defensive line as we have edge rushers in this pre-draft process. So I do think that somewhere along the line, this team is going to try and fill that need. Let's go with Aeneas Peebles.
All right. Peebles has been drafted, and the clock is ticking again. And next up is 205. Again, I failed to look at the draft opportunities, so whatever. As we roll, RJ Mickens is another name. There goes Barrett Carter to the Titans. Dylan Fairchild, another interior offensive lineman, going to San Francisco. There's Sanker. Sanker goes to Miami. Riley Leonard, the quarterback out of Notre Dame, goes to Miami. Interesting. Some names still. Jack Kaiser, a linebacker. He's still on the board. Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback out of Oregon. He's kind of a weird. I figured if they went quarterback in Miami, he'd be the guy they would be looking at. I think he fits their offense a little bit better than some of the other guys.
I'm going to go make nachos while the 5th round finishes.
Say what?
I said I'm planning on making nachos during
yeah. We're coming up on our pick now. Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech's on the board, the wide receiver. Trevor Etienne, the running back. Dante Thornton. He's not a fast guy, but he's a big body. 6'5", 205.
He's a fast guy too.
He is a fast guy?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Maybe I'm mistaken then. Let's see. Ooh. Don't let me sway you, John. Let me know if you need me to move the mouse.
It's not me. It's not me. It's Tony.
Oh.
All right.
Tony.
Yeah, 6th round. I think you just kind of get someone who you think is the best player available, or
the contributor.
yeah, and someone, ideally, usually it's someone who can also play special teams. You click on Isaac Tesla. I've heard good things about him from Arkansas.
Transferred to Arkansas in 23. Started all 12 games. 34 receptions at 351 yards. He is not a stat monster, but he's got a relative athletic score of 9.89. Puts him at just over 6 foot, 214. He ran a 4.43 40 with a 39.5-inch vertical and a 10-foot broad jump. His 10 and 20-yard splits are good. They're not elite, but his size is great. Shuttle is what the relative athletic score comes back at.
Can we open up Kobe King? I know we talked about him.
Kobe King started all 16 games, second team All Big Ten honors. Effective in both pass and run defense. His measurables: 6 foot, 236. Not the biggest guy. There is no vertical. He ran a 4.87 40. He's got decent sideline to sideline speed there. Shuttle and 3-cone aren't great. They're good. His 10-yard split was a 1.57, which was a 9.26 grade. So he gets off the line quick, like really quick.
Okay. Let's see. The other guy I was looking at is Thornton from Tennessee.
Dante Thornton might not be a bad place to take him.
Oh, yeah. He's got a good athletic score.
He does, 9.85, yep. I'm not seeing any other names. Luke Lachey, tight end.
Oh, yeah, Jim Lachey's kid, I believe.
Jim Lachey's son, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he was impressive at the Shrine Bowl. A lot of people were talking better about him after that than before.
Sip, are there any names that jump out at you?
For me, I think the receivers, especially Thornton. Thornton's a bit raw. If I recall, he ran like somewhere around 4.3. He's a bit of a freak. He is there's some fast guys that are more like underneath, guys that catch the ball underneath and are yak guys like Ty Felton. Thornton is a genuine deep ball guy. He's sort of a poor man's Brian Thomas, who Jaden Daniels sort of fed off of at LSU. I remember reading about him. He's a really high character guy, super good guy. I think like 4.0 GPA with a lot of teammates love him. So he's in that Adam Peters category of just a good commander, high character guy. Lane is fun to watch too. Like he's more of a yak guy, good punt returner. It's for me, it'd be one of those three receivers that are up there. I probably lean Thornton, but I'm a bit biased towards him because I paid a little bit more attention to him than the other two that are up. So I've watched him quite a bit. In fact, on the board, I've talked about him quite a bit, and it's gotten some people going, "Hey, we should take him in the first round." Second, I was like, I think we're getting carried away.
It might be a little much.
Yeah.
He's a bit raw, but he is an absolute freak. And the fact that he could actually, not only is a good deep ball catcher, but he's also a big time yak guy too. Like he's raw, but he's
Yeah.
he has a lot of tools, and he's if it were me, but I paid a little bit more attention to him than the other two receivers.
Yeah, When this first hit, the receivers are the ones that jumped out for me too. Like we mentioned, so Tesla and Thornton. But I honestly too, I've watched more Tennessee games than these other guys. So I'm just gonna go with Thornton. And I think at this point in the draft, he's a good player to take a chance on.
Deontay Thornton, wide receiver out of Tennessee, 6'5", 205, big body speed guy, where I was apparently incorrect. And we mark off another need, apparently, according to Mock Draft Hero. So Deontay Thornton. What do you guys think about that, Paul, John?
I like the... Go ahead, John.
I think anytime you got a guy with that kind of speed who's had some success, and we're in the 6th round, that's a guy that, you hope he's not going to be a really fast guy who can't catch the ball and run good routes and get open. But, you're looking for that kind of raw talent at this level of the draft, guys that you're not going to find proven stars in the 6th round most of the time, right? It's guys that have the traits, which seems to be a favorite word of mock drafters these days. But so he's definitely got some traits where we might have something there. So I like that pick.
Mm-hmm. And in
Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
In the preview pods that we were doing leading up to this, we often talked about the presence of a big body receiver. We've lacked that in Washington for some time now. So just the size element alone makes that a pretty appealing pick at this juncture. In the
Come on, Paul, you don't discount Cam Sims. What's up, man?
Yeah. Players of actual value, though.
Yeah.
But hey, so before we make the pick, there are trades on the table. Apparently, Houston would give up a 6th round pick next year and number 241 for 205. And it says it favors us 55 to 45. I find that, unless they're expecting the Texans to be terrible and us, to being like a top 5 6th round pick. Miami wants 205, and they'll give us 224, 253, and 231. Detroit wants 205. They'll give us 228, 244, and a 7th next year. At this point, I guess I could see like him taking something like that, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking. If you want my pick this year, I need a round better next year, in my personal opinion. Or, you know what I mean? Like, when you're getting into this part of the draft, it's not. People say it's a crapshoot, but it's. I rely more on my ability to evaluate players than just throwing shit at the wall to see what's going to stick. So
I'm good with that.
Deontay Thornton, wide receiver, Tennessee has been drafted.
So,
As we continue to roll along here, any big names coming off the board? There goes Tesla. He went 218. Joshua Gray. Jalen Lane, the wide receiver out of Virginia Tech, goes to the Cardinals. I think he could be kind of a weapon. I don't think, but he's slight. He's not. I don't know that he can handle getting his ass kicked every Sunday. Luke Lachey is still on the board. Luke Lachey is still on the board at 245. John, is this you, brother?
Yes.
Okay.
all right.
Some interesting names here. Jay Higgins is another one, just in my personal opinion.
Iowa.
Scroll down a little bit for me, brother. I was looking to see if Cody Simon was still on the board.
Cody Simon.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Simon. Are you here, Cody Simon? I thought there was a place to search. Which position?
He's a linebacker.
Linebacker. Oh, it's not going to let me sort. I thought oh, yeah, well, never mind.
Oh, there you go.
Went at 170 to the Bills.
Bills.
Wow. No wonder I wanted him.
Yep.
What about, I know we joked, I really don't want to take a kicker. I really don't want to draft a kicker, but I am curious if Fitzgerald's still on the board.
It doesn't even give me the option.
Are they just, oh, yeah, other? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's on the board.
There's a couple guys we already drafted. I like Taj Brooks, running back, but we've already drafted a running back, so we're probably not going to do that. Did you say Lachey was still on the board?
Yep, he's down there. He's there.
Open him up. I have him on
Luke
my
Lachey,
list.
tight end out of Iowa, 6'6", 251, ran a 4.7, 240. That's a big boy that's getting down road right there.
Yeah, there were a couple offensive linemen. We drafted offensive linemen. So I'm kind of torn between taking the tight end or just locking down our kicker position.
I wouldn't give up on Jay Higgins either. Big Ten linebacker of the year, first team All Big Ten at Iowa, and the semifinalist for Lombardi, Butkus, and the Ronnie Lott Impact Awards. 118 tackles. 6 foot, 224. He's undersized. If you're talking about a middle linebacker, and measurables aren't great, but the guy's just a damn football player. What do you see in Sip?
Anybody else got any thoughts?
You said Brooks is still there? See Taj Brooks.
Taj Brooks. Yeah, did you say Taj Brooks?
I thought someone mentioned him.
He's
gone?
Just filtered for running back.
No, he went 233 to the Bears.
I had him on my list as well.
John, if you want to go completely off the board and throw a massive curveball into this and double down on the running back.
Do it. We love chaos. Do it.
If you want to double down on a running back position, consider this. I know we picked Henderson in the first round. Austin Eckler is probably not here beyond next year. There's a guy sitting there, Woody Marks from USC. He's a pass-catching machine out of the backfield. Could he potentially be an Austin Eckler replacement down the road? Just an idea.
I think
Does he have special teams chops? Because, Paul, isn't this the time where you talk about getting valuable special teams contributions?
And we don't have special teams contributions so far on day 3. We have a defensive tackle and we have a wide receiver who I believe does not have any special teams contributions. So, yeah, something else to consider as well.
I'm gonna go Jay Higgins, linebacker.
Jay, hey, I swayed you, huh?
Yeah.
Sweet. I like it. What do you think, Sip? You like Higgins?
As much as I hate saying it, he sounds like a commander.
He's got the commander card.
It's got the
Yeah,
commander tag.
watch. I guess my only red flag with him is I guess he ran like over a 4.8, which is a bit slow for linebacker. But outside of that, yeah, that's the one position I haven't really delved into too much outside of like the top, linebackers. I'm assuming we're not taking one, even though there's a rumor that we're hot over, one of them right now. But no, it sounds solid to me. I think the idea of doubling down on running backs not a bad idea with Henderson, because I love Henderson, but I don't see him as he's more of a rotational back as opposed to number one back. I like Woody Marks, who he brought up. The only thing is he feels a little redundant with Henderson, because he's a good pass catcher, third down type of guy too. But if they didn't take Henderson, Woody Marks I think would be a good value here. As far as the more of the more the power style running backs, I saw Hunter maybe I'd consider. I don't love him, but I like him. But in the 7th round, whatever. If Higgins could be the guy. I mean, the other guy I consider would be the
Derek, filter for running back, please.
Alabama tight end. I always botch his name. Dupree.
So, and Paul, who was it? You were talking about Mark or somebody else?
Sorry, John. I couldn't hear you.
Which running back were you hunting in on?
Oh,
Jaquavius Marks.
Yeah,
right here.
Mm-hmm.
He's an older prospect as well. I think he's going to be like 24 or 25.
He's 24 now. Yeah. He'll be 25 almost at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good. I think, my only issue is he redundant, but he's a really good. If I had to just go for a pure running back without pretending they never took Henderson, he would be the guy I would take among those.
Well, the other thing,
I'm kind of swayed by the dual threat Austin Eckler argument, because Eckler's one more concussion from being done. I think that's fair to say. He gets one more bad concussion, that's it, man. They can't keep.
Well, the other thing is we don't have a single running back under contract beyond 2025, right?
All right.
The only thing is, do you need Eckler if you have Henderson, though? I mean, that's the only thing. I think Eckler becomes redundant when you have Henderson. Like, I can't see Eckler being on the field on 3rd down versus Henderson. That's my only counter argument, versus. But it doesn't matter. Marks to me is a good running back. But I do think Eckler becomes expendable maybe now they take Henderson.
I'm trying to look at Woody Marks. Does he have any special teams history as a returner, or it doesn't look like it? Oh, sorry, not to bring this to a screeching halt.
Well,
John, it's your call, brother.
I feel like Marks is probably the more talented athlete of the guys we're talking about, and I think that's what you're looking for here. So I'm gonna take Marks.
In 2021, he had 11 kick returns for 231 yards. He did not log another kick return. Interesting. But we're going Marks.
Yep.
All right. Jaquavius Marks, running back, USC, off the board. As we go, I believe that was our last pick, and of course, I didn't check for draft or trade opportunities. Yeah, I think that was our last pick, right?
Yes. Let's see if our kicker is an undrafted free agent.
Let me unclick that. Fitzgerald. He was not drafted.
All right.
He is still available.
There you go.
Some other interesting names as this clears out because the website's lagging like crazy. Jay Higgins is still there as an undrafted UDFA. Luke Lachey went 256 to the Chargers. You bastards. Raheem Sanders, another running back name. Daquan Felton is another wide receiver name. Nick Nash, still available. We did not get a corner, right?
Nope.
No,
No, we got two running backs, an O lineman, an edge rusher, defensive lineman, and a wide receiver. That's how it fell out.
And then at number 245, Jaquavius Marks, RB, USC. As that updates the ticker along the bottom there. It's also on the screen. So we did not address corner. We did not prioritize edge, which I actually think is a good thing because I don't think if you get one of the top 2 or 3 guys, I think you find yourself reaching. But I like this draft. I'm not. I'll be honest. I don't know that it's my favorite draft, but I definitely would be happy if this was what. I don't know about you guys. Would you be satisfied and satiated if this was what we woke up to Sunday morning?
Jaden Daniels would be fucking happy. Jaden Daniels is like, booyah.
Yeah. Jaden would be happy. Absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. The thing about the draft is things happen that you never anticipated, and you just have to be fluid and hope that they make all the right calls. I don't know. I mean,
that's why this practice is so fun because it's not like we're putting any money that this is how it's going to end up, but we just want to see how we would play the board if we were in the position. It's funny that Trevion Henderson is the between the tackles guy that we all believe, you know what I mean? But he is the same height as Woody Marks. He's 10 pounds lighter, 13 pounds lighter, and Marks is supposed to be the game-breaking receiving threat. Henderson is supposed to be your workhorse.
Well, I like that we double-dipped, even though that's what people will say when they see this mock draft is, why are you drafting 2 running backs? That's never going to happen. But the thing is, it might be the best running back draft in like a decade. So if you're going to double dip, it's not a bad.
The second one was in the 7th round, so people.
Yeah. Exactly. So if you go by just pre-draft rankings, we had a lot of green on here. Their speculation is we reached a little bit for Galat and for Henderson, but I think this draft could come to fruition. I would kind of be surprised if Peebles was there at 28 just because of how important the interior pass rush is, and so many copycats are going to be like, oh, the Philly way, you know what I mean? Because it's a copycat league. I want to go win a Super Bowl without ever having to blitz a linebacker too, but you can't just make that up. You know what I mean? You got to play the board the way that it is. So, but to add 2 running backs, a wide receiver, shore up your interior O-line after adding Laramie Tunsil and elevating the right tackle position by potentially upgrading it. And then if you can get something out of it. Plus, we don't know what we're going to get with Jean-Baptiste, right? I mean, we saw a little bit from him, but he wasn't drafted to be a game changer. So could we get some additional production there? And then you add Sinnott, McCaffrey, some other guys that were in McGee. You know, some of these guys are going to be potentially playing as almost as rookies just because they didn't get a chance to play last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, fellas, what?
No, the only thing I was going to say, like my final reaction to this, we prioritized the trenches on both sides of the ball and gave our quarterback some weapons. I think the season goes as Jaden Daniels goes. If you insulate and protect him and do more to support him, I think that can only spell success for this team. So I don't think this is necessarily a mock draft that a lot of the names that we have on there are not some of the typical names that you might see other people projecting to our team. But I think the theory behind it is pretty rock solid.
And we'll see if we got even one right over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We've had pretty good luck with that recently, but
we're only like 48 hours away from the draft, right? Like it's literally the day after tomorrow. Now we're probably not even going to be 29. Probably doesn't go off until after 11 o'clock, so that's going to be a long night that night. But as far as the draft getting kicked off and a lot of questions being answered, it's going to happen quickly. Like we're up against it. So, fellas, as always, it's been a pleasure. Sip, thanks for coming and joining us. Your knowledge of the draft is awesome, and we really appreciate your input. And for those out there watching, we will have the BGO chat open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I can't promise on Friday and Saturday how active it's going to be, but it's only as active as your input. So if you guys want to chat it up, help yourself. Don't wait for us to promote it. Come over to bgobsession.com. Join us. It's an awesome board. A lot of new members recently, so there's been a lot of new activity and a lot of great opinions on the board. So if you've made it this far, of course, thank you. Hook us up with that like, share, and follow. Catch us on all social platforms, as well as at bgobsession.com. You know, it's the beginning. And by the way, I'm still hearing our Al Galdi promos. I heard it when I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was pretty cool. So, and that's a member of the BG Obsession podcast, Al Galdi. So, as always, boys, I'll let you end it and say that'll do, pigs. That'll do.